Welcome back to Andrea Fontana Beauty. Today we're in the cozy corner of my studio because we're going to talk weddings. I've shared a little bit over the years on my blog, but I've never filmed a video for YouTube dedicated to my tips for brides. And since 2022 is supposed to be the year of the most weddings since 1984, I think, figured it was a good time to film this video. So I have notes right here of my 10 tips that I have for all of my brides who are currently planning their 2022 or beyond that wedding. These are things that I've noticed as a vendor, but now being on the other side of it and planning my own wedding, which is 6 months away, also in 2022, I want to make sure that I am sharing these things with you because as a bride, they're also very important. If you are married and you planned a wedding and you want to share some tips down below, be sure to comment them down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to Andrea Fontana Beauty if you enjoy makeup, secondhand living, food content, day in the life, any of that sort of thing, behind the scenes of my life as a freelance makeup artist, content creator, makeup enthusiast, those sorts of things. So let's just jump right into it so this doesn't get too long. I did share some of these in a quick TikTok, but I wanted to go more in depth. So they may seem like familiar tips from me if you do follow me on TikTok, but some of them are new. So let's get started. My first tip has to do with your vendors, okay? Like obviously, duh, you need your vendors to be good at their job. If they're a florist, they need to be good at arranging flowers. If they're a makeup artist, they need to be good at doing makeup. But sometimes you forget that there's certain people who are going to be interacting with you on the day of your wedding. So if it's a hairstylist, a makeup artist, an event planner, you need to make sure that your personalities mix well. Because especially if it's like somebody who's getting you ready, because they're going to be with you for hours on your wedding day and you want to make sure that you vibe well with them. The last thing you want, if you're a super talkative, outgoing, friendly person, the last thing you want is a hairstylist who doesn't talk to you, because then it just feels kind of awkward. And my goal as a makeup artist, I always seem to end up with these amazing brides who we act like we've been friends forever. That's kind of my favorite vibe on a wedding day. I totally get that that's not everybody's, but the point of this tip is to remind you to choose vendors that help you feel like your natural self on your wedding day, because the more that you feel like yourself on your wedding day, the less anxious you'll be, the less rushed feeling. You just want to make sure that it's a happy, fun, the environment that you want for your wedding day, which I don't think is something that people always think of. So that's definitely tip number one. Make sure that your vendors are good at their job, but also have good wedding day energy if there's somebody you're going to be spending a lot of time with on your wedding day. Don't want a stressful personality to be getting you ready, right? Things to remember when you're scheduling and kind of setting up what the day of getting ready portion might look like. I always tell my brides to plan for extra time for a couple of reasons. And I like to remind them that one, you will not be sleeping in on your wedding day. The second you're up and you realize what day it is, like you're going to be like a little kid on Christmas and you're going to be so excited. You are not going to wake up and be like, oh, I wish I could sleep for like 3 more hours. No, once you're up, you're up. You're going to be so excited and you're not going to mind getting up early. You're going to want to have that day to be the longest day ever, right? Like you want to soak up every single moment. 2, you choose your ladies for a reason, right? Ladies, or I have a bridesman, so men also. But your bridal party is your bridal party for a reason. You obviously love hanging out with them, and it's the only time in the day when you get to just them. For me, some of my favorite moments with some of my bridal party members are previous times throughout their lives when we've gotten ready together. So I'm personally really looking forward and know that I want that time to have extra time. I want to be able to move slowly and enjoy it and really feel good at the end of it, you know? So yeah, plan for extra time for getting ready because you're never going to be mad if you have 10 extra minutes to just like sit and chill, have a drink before you have to be somewhere, right? Okay, number 3, find vendors that you feel like you really trust. When I was planning my own wedding, I personally chose vendors that like already, before I contacted them, their style was similar to what I wanted. The way they worked was similar to what I wanted. I don't know anything about flowers, right? Like I'm not a florist. So I want to be able to trust my florist to do their job, right? Like as a vendor, you trust us to take what you want and for you to guide us and really create your vision. And I find that when you find somebody that you really trust, it's easier to just be like, I trust you, you're the professional, go and do it. Like I'm paying you to do your job, so I trust you, whatever they end up doing, right? Like obviously give them some guidance, but I find that when you find the vendor who you trust from the get-go, it's way less stressful. Like again, I'm gonna keep bringing up florists because I love my florist for my wedding. And I hired her because I trust everything she creates is beautiful. I love everything she creates, so I know that if I give her some guidelines of color, whatever, it's gonna be beautiful on my wedding day. So trust your vendors. They've done this many, many, many times and they know what works, they know what doesn't work, and you're paying them not just to perform, but also to like plan accordingly and to help you navigate the planning stages. So that's important. This one is more specific to makeup, but can also be helpful for other things as well, like flowers, dress, whatever. But your photos of things you like are everything, okay? But there's a but with that. Don't expect a carbon copy of whatever photo. For me, it's really helpful for me to see a photo of a makeup look you like, because then I can ask you why you like it, right? Like, do you like the skin? Do you like the eyeliner? Do you like the lipstick? There's very specific things in the photo and your vendor can ask questions, and it's easier to get your vision across if there's an actual photo that the two of you can look at. Whereas if somebody's just saying, I like a smoky eye, to me, a smoky eye can mean something to you different than what it means to me, different than what it means to every other person who's ever had a smoky eye. So photos are helpful, but also go into it with a realistic expectation that we are not machines, and as vendors, we can't just like copy and produce everything. Trust your vendors. Photos are helpful, but do not expect, I mean, Pinterest is full of unrealistic expectations when it comes to budget. Very often there's not enough time. They're styled shoots often what you're seeing on Pinterest. So there's a lot more that goes into it than what you think. So photos are helpful for you to kind of like start the conversation, but I personally think that it's better to kind of create your own thing based off of the conversation that you have with your vendors. Number 5, I think is very important. The number one comment that I get from photographers is that they love that I'm always on schedule. There's nothing worse than a glam team that's behind schedule, according to a photographer. And like when things need to, I mean, they create these timelines, and then when they're not met and they can't start what they want to, it's frustrating, right? Like we want to be able to do our job and do what we need to do. But the reason that I pride myself on always being on time is because I am extremely realistic when it comes to creating a schedule. I always create a schedule. If your makeup and hair have not created a schedule for you, I highly recommend that you create one. Now, is this a minute by minute, everything has to happen what's on the schedule? No, not at all. It's a schedule that's flexible, so that if little hiccups or things come up throughout the day, we can totally be flexible and change things. But the idea is that we have a plan. And when we have a plan, we're more likely to be successful, right? So the schedule is open to be changed on the day of the wedding, but there's extra time built in. I mean, sometimes like this past weekend, I had a mother-in-law that was running behind, so she wasn't there yet, but because we had a schedule and we knew who was supposed to go after her, we were able to flip-flop them and everything kept going smoothly. So they're really helpful. Also, I know that some people are like, oh, I'm just go with the flow, I don't care, but those are always the weddings that tend to run behind because there's no plan and nobody knows where they're supposed to be. A schedule is also really helpful because it kind of removes all those questions of your bridal party, asking you, hey, when's my hair? When's my makeup? Who's going next? Who should go here? If everybody knows where they need to be, people will go to the bathroom before their makeup appointment. And then you'd be surprised how many little things can happen on a wedding day that can make things take longer. But if you create that schedule and you are able to give it to your bridal party, they know where they need to be, they know when they need to be there, and it just makes things so much more seamless and less questions for you on your wedding day, which is so very important, because my biggest pet peeve as a vendor is when I'm doing a bride's makeup and all I hear is, hey, where do you want this? Hey, what time should we do this? Hey, like your brain is already going to be kind of in a unique, nervous, fluttery kind of spot on your wedding day. And the last thing you need is more people asking you questions and creating more mental fatigue. So I find that schedules make things so much easier. Things always run more smoothly. And if there's a hiccup, we're able to fix them because we know what's supposed to happen next, right? So it's just, I can't recommend a schedule enough. Number 6, discuss and answer every question that you can ahead of time. The less that there is to do on your wedding day, the better. I know this kind of wraps up into the previous one when it comes to like a schedule, but if you can discuss it and plan it and figure it out before the wedding day, do it. You can't sit here and tell me that you wouldn't love to only have to drink a mimosa on your wedding day. Like, I joke with my brides, the only decision and question you should have to answer on your wedding day is how much orange juice would you like in your mimosa? You shouldn't have to, I mean, you've been planning this thing for months, right? Like the last thing you should have to do is still be planning and answering and doing things on your wedding day. So if you can figure it out ahead of time, I promise you, you will not regret it. Do it ahead of time, talk to your vendors, and we're more than happy. We love, it's less stressful for your vendors if we have questions answered and we know what you want before the wedding day. So cannot recommend that one enough. Number 7, choose aspects that feel like you and don't do something just because it's bridal. It's your day and you won't regret the things that feel like you. I tell my brides that I never want you to feel like you're playing dress up. I don't want you to feel like you're just at a photo shoot. I want you to feel like it's you on your wedding day, right? So if you choose aspects, whether it's your hair, your dress, your makeup, your venue, anything that you are choosing for your wedding day, if you choose things that are too trendy, too Pinteresty, too bridal, those are the things that I see people regretting 5, 10, 20 years down the road. If you are somebody who, I always use hair as an example because I think it just like gets the point across really easily. If you always wear your hair down, wear your hair down on your wedding day. Because if you all of a sudden wear an updo, you're going to be like, you're just not going to feel comfortable and you're not going to feel like yourself. If you're not a super fussy, detailed, over the top person, don't choose that for your wedding venue, for, I don't know, your decor, everything. Choose things and make decisions that feel like you, because then it'll feel like you and your fiance getting married and not like you're just playing a part in a play. We don't want that. Number 8 is the big one that I tell every single bride. You're the only one who knows what's supposed to happen on your wedding day. Nobody else, I mean, besides like your wedding planner and maybe your bridal party, none of your guests know what's supposed to happen, right? You plan the day, not them. They're not gonna know if something is the wrong color or if a table's in the wrong spot. So don't stress about it because, again, it's your wedding day and there's more important things to think about and to spend your time, to spend your brain on, right? Like, don't feed into that mental exhaustion and don't get stressed out about things that nobody will know we're not supposed to have. Number 9, take some time to soak in the moment of your wedding day alone and quietly. I personally try to be a little more quiet and tame, which is hard for me sometimes when my bride is in my chair, because I want her to have a moment to just kind of be and close her eyes, think about what a special day it is, how excited she is to marry her fiance. Don't forget, you don't want to just be go, go, go. Again, this kind of goes back to the plan extra time. I think if you have a moment to yourself to just like drink a cup of coffee before things get rolling, that's great. Maybe wake up 20 minutes earlier than you have to so that you can do that. Obviously, I think it's important to do this also with your fiance, or I guess your husband later on, or wife. And you want to make sure that you just factor in that time to just be like, whoa, today's my wedding day. This is so cool. Here's how I'm feeling. It only takes a couple minutes, but I promise you won't regret it. All right, number 10. This is a big one because I have seen a lot of vendors post-pandemic that are screwing over brides, and it kills me as somebody who literally would do anything, almost anything for her brides. I hate that some brides are being taken advantage of, but listen to your gut. If something feels off with a vendor, speak up, because the vendors that you deserve to work with, all they want is for you to be happy and for you to be married and for it to be as close to your dream as possible. If communication seems off, figure it out. if you don't like the way that their system is set up regarding paying a deposit, but you don't have a contract yet, anything like that. Again, anything in it feels off, trust your gut, because it's a very important day. It's a lot of money usually, and I don't want you getting screwed. I know you don't want to get screwed, and unfortunately we can't control every single person in the wedding industry, and I want to make sure that, you know, you are taken care of. So read your contracts, ask about refund policies, ask about, especially with COVID, as we've seen dates change and things get postponed. Always, always, always talk about all of these things, read the contracts before you sign them, and trust your gut if something feels off. Question them. Yes, this is the way that I make money, but nothing will ever trump the fact that it's your wedding day and I want it to be the best day of your life. Those are my 10 tips. I hope you found them helpful. If you have any more questions for me as a bridal makeup artist, as a bride-to-be myself, don't forget to comment those down below and I'd be happy to answer them. If you'd like a part 2, I'm sure I can pull even more tips out of my hat. I've been doing this now for 8 years and I love every moment of it. Yeah, my season is winding down, so I'll have more time to reflect on this season, and every year is just about getting better and streamlining things and making the process easier for both your vendors and yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy this wedding planning season. It's a really fun time in life, and I feel like every single day my fiance and I are just like so excited. We're ready for it to be over with, but we're also really enjoying the excitement of being fiancés. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.